You know that feeling when you sit down to work on a project that you haven't touched in a week or two, and you sit down and you are like, okay, where do I start? And you start looking for all the documents that are related, and you sit there and you're like, wait, where did I leave off? What was I doing last? You know that feeling? What if I told you that you could avoid all of that, that you would never have to do that again, never have to spend that time getting back up to speed with the thing that you haven't seen or touched in a week, in 2 weeks, in 3 months? What if you didn't have to do that? Well, in today's episode, I'm going to share with you a strategy so that you never have to spend all of that time getting back up to speed with something that you have already worked on. Welcome to the Do More, Stress Less podcast. I'm your host, Alexis Hasselberger, a time management and productivity coach. In every episode, I give you actionable, practical tips to help you learn to use your time in a way that feels good to you every day. No more hustling, scrambling, or struggling to keep your head above water. So let's dive in, and soon enough, you'll be doing more and stressing less. Documentation. Does that word scare you? Send you fleeing? Make you want to turn off this podcast? Give you the ick? Well, don't turn off the podcast because I want to share a little something. So, if you are thinking, well, I don't have time to document, I barely have time to do the work itself, then I want you to spend just a few minutes listening to the rest of this episode. And if you're thinking, what does she even mean by document? Well, to me, documentation is just a quick note of what you did and when. And most task apps are going to timestamp this in the comments for you automatically. It makes it super, super easy. But documentation, like planning or like sleep or like exercise, is often one of the first things to go when you get busy. But this doesn't serve you in the long run, or even in the medium run, or the short run, actually. Now, it's counterintuitive, but you think you don't have time to document? Well, actually, you don't have time not to document. You don't want to wait until later or the end of the day or when I have a few minutes to document. You want to document what you're doing as you're working on it. Now, if you take 10 seconds to note in your task list, that you say left a voicemail for someone on a specific date, then later you don't need to try to recall that information or to search for when you'd sent that to somebody in an email. Taking a couple of extra seconds on the front end in the moment will save you a ton of time overall. How? Well, if you wait even a couple of hours, you have to think about it, whatever it is, twice. And that takes time. Right now, you know you sent off that email. But in a couple of hours, you'll be wondering, did I send it or is it still a draft? And then you'll need to go spend some time checking. Or worse, you wait until next week and you can't remember if you even started it or where it might be. Documenting in the moment also helps you to build the habit of keeping your task system current. One big hindrance a lot of people experience when they start trying a task system is that they don't update in the moment, and then updating the system itself becomes yet another task that they need to do. And if updating your task list is an item on your task list, well, my friend, you are in a losing battle because update my task list is never going to feel like a top priority in and of itself. By documenting in the moment, you save time because the update is already top of mind. Documenting as you go helps you to avoid relying on your memory so that you can use all that brain power to focus on the task at hand. You can think of this as a gift to your future self. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the Do More, Stress Less podcast. If you found today's episode helpful, please share it with somebody who could use a little less stress in their life. And make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're excited to take action or you need a little extra support, check out the free resources available on my website or schedule a free consultation call with me. You can do both of these at alexishasselberger.com. See you next time.